Hello, this is Todd Wall from Aquatine Media. And there is an article I saw that I thought was interesting I wanted to discuss. The article focuses on Donald Trump and a proposal he made regarding capping interest rates on credit cards. But that's not really the focus of the article, or that's not really what I want to focus on. AOC, Bernie Sanders, other people have supported similar idea. And additionally, Trump is clearly not a traditional Republican, and this proposal is definitely at odds with traditional sort of orthodox kind of Republican policy proposals. So just keep that in mind. So the title of the article is Trump wants to cap credit card interest rates at 10%. Critics warn it could cause people to lose their cards. So really this article is about kind of the consequences and the trade-offs of making certain policy decisions. Or what the trade-offs could be. So the article begins, credit card debt has been a pressing issue in America, and former president and Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump has proposed a solution to alleviate this burden. While working Americans catch up, we're going to put a temporary cap on credit card interest rates, Trump spoke to a packed audience during a campaign rally in New York on September 18th. We're going to cap it around 10%. We can't let them make 25 and 30%. So I guess 25 and 30, I don't know what the average credit card rates are. I think actually later in the article they might show that it's in the low 20s, but 20, 25, 30%, is pretty high. And so he's appealing kind of, I don't know if you want to call this pandering, but clearly he's pandering on some level and trying to make a suggestion, let's limit interest on credit cards. Everyone, let's cheer for this. So this proposal stands out given the average credit card interest rate was 21.5% as of March 2024, according to the Federal Reserve. Rates have climbed in recent years, but they've never fallen to the 10% mark based on data going back to 1994. So for the past 30 years, we have not seen average interest rates on credit cards below 10%. And I mean, recently we had extremely low rates have risen in the past year or two, but prior to that, as a result of the Fed trying to put liquidity into the economy after the pandemic, interest rates were lowered to essentially zero, and even at that point in time, credit card interest rates did not go below 10%. So high interest rates pose a challenge for those with credit card debt, as balances can balloon if repayments don't keep pace. Well, I mean, typically there's a minimum repayment on your card, so the only way it would balloon is if you don't keep up with your payments. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York reported a $27 billion surge in credit card balances in the second quarter of 2024, pushing the total outstanding balance to $1.14 trillion. It's a big business for banks. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau estimates that each year Americans pay a whopping $120 billion in credit card interest and fees. It is a big business, but there's a lot of companies competing. And in addition, in the past 5 to 10 years, you've had a lot of like fintech companies kind of get into lending and consumer lending on some level. So, clearly there's a lot of people who are competing in this market. If they saw that, this opportunity was super rich, you presumably the way the market works is, interest rates would go down as a result if the profit opportunities were so great with all the companies competing. The article continues, Trump did not provide details on how he plans to implement the cap, but critics have raised concerns about the pledge. I don't think, whatever you think about Trump, I don't think realistically Trump thought about it too much. I think he's just kind of, again, throwing out, pandering, coming up with an idea that maybe he thinks will help with the voters. It seems like he's sort of fallen behind Kamala Harris in some of the polling, so perhaps he's looking for a way to kind of, rebound his polling numbers. Peter Schiff, chief economist and global strategist at Euro Pacific Asset Management, warned that the 10% interest rate cap would destroy the entire industry. Trump just proposed his own version of price controls. Millions of Americans would lose their credit cards, Schiff wrote on X. Which I still like to refer to as Twitter. I refuse to say X. I continue to say Twitter. Schiff, who has expressed support for Trump in this election, stated that he has doubts the plan will actually be carried out. Others have echoed this concern. Government-imposed price controls on credit card interest rates would harm all cardholders, especially the lowest-income Americans who these measures are intended to help, an insider from the Consumer Banking Association told the New York Post. This will result in credit cards only being given to consumers who have high income and credit scores who pose little risk to card issuers. Well, that's true. I mean, basically, if a proposal like this, went into effect, one of the biggest risks these companies are taking on. I mean, obviously they've got to cover their costs. They got to make a profit, and one of the biggest costs they incur is credit risk. So, a lot of people with significant credit card balances declare bankruptcy. This debt is unsecured, and it can get wiped out. So these card companies lose, a lot of their losses. Their whole profit and loss in this. An important component of that is the likelihood of just never getting paid the money they're owed, and in some instances that debt being wiped out by bankruptcy. So obviously lowering interest rates, if you're lowering the revenue that credit card companies can receive, they've got to reduce their risk. So they're going to limit, clearly they're going to eliminate credit cards to all but the most trustworthy, credit-worthy borrowers. The American Banker Association expressed similar concerns. While we don't know the specific details of this proposal, ABA has opposed similar interest rate cap proposals in the past, including one from Senator Bernie Sanders and Representative Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez during the 2020 campaign, because they would result in the loss of credit cards for the very consumers who need it the most, the ABA told CNBC. Instead, these consumers would be forced to use less regulated, more risky alternative, including payday lenders and loan sharks. It's interesting. I guess payday lenders are some of the rates they charge are even worse. I'm not familiar. Thankfully, I have no personal experience with payday lenders and loan sharks. That seems like something out of a movie, but I guess loan sharks do exist. Credit card interest rates are influenced by several factors such as an individual's credit score, income, and overall financial profile. A higher credit score typically results in lower interest rates because it indicates to lenders that the individual is a low-risk borrower likely to pay back the borrowed amount on time, blah, blah, blah. A lower credit score indicates a more risky borrower. Income plays a role. I'm kind of skipping over a couple things here. There's other factors that determine someone's credit score, debt-to-income ratio, employment history, existing debt, so on and so forth. The article continues, therefore, the concern is that if interest rates were capped at an artificially low level, lenders might become more selective in approving credit. This makes sense. Again, the less desirable, lower income, more risky borrowers would have no access to credit cards and then would basically be forced to turn to payday loans and loan sharks. So these proposals are bipartisan. Sanders called high credit card interest rates a profound moral issue. I do think this quote's interesting. Every religion understands that usury and loan sharking are immoral, and let's call it what it is. It's loan sharking. So this is an interesting issue. There is an issue of morality, trapping people in debt. And basically, credit cards can certainly do that. But clearly you can't just place artificial caps on interest rates and expect the industry not to respond. So I thought the article was interesting. But what do you think? I'd be interested in hearing your comments in the comments section below. And please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. And I hope everyone has a good day.